The British royal family is this idea of a royal reconciliation, and we have some of the top aides having these super secret meetings here in London.
When an 85-year-old royal biographer with nothing left to lose starts talking, the establishment listens. Tom Bower isn't your typical tabloid gossip columnist. He's the man who spent decades tearing down public figures with surgical precision, and his latest target has sent shockwaves through both Hollywood and Buckingham Palace. What he's revealed about Meghan Markle isn't just damaging, it's potentially career-ending. The whispers that have followed the Duchess of Sussex for over a decade are now being backed by someone whose reputation was built on exposing uncomfortable truths. Bower's claims aren't just about contradictions in her story. They're about a systematic pattern of deception that he says has finally caught up with her. The fairy tale narrative she's carefully crafted is unraveling, and the consequences are playing out in real time across every platform that once embraced her. But this goes deeper than just another celebrity scandal. What Bower is alleging strikes at the very core of how modern fame operates, how narratives are manufactured, and what happens when the audience finally stops buying what you're selling. The woman who married into royalty believing it would guarantee her permanent relevance is discovering that titles mean nothing when trust evaporates.
Photographed and every last detail in the Daily Mail. Tom Bower, what was your reaction when you saw those headlines?
I thought it was confection.
For over 10 years, rumors have circulated about Meghan's past before she became a royal. The so-called yacht girl allegations have persisted despite her team's aggressive efforts to bury them. These aren't new whispers. They've been floating around since her early Hollywood days, suggesting her rise in the entertainment industry wasn't purely based on talent.
I thought that it showed, firstly, Harry absolutely desperate. I thought that Meredith Maines, who is a very aggressive PR for the Sussexes.
According to Bower's sources, her networking involved exclusive parties, powerful connections, and strategic relationships that conveniently aligned with career opportunities. The allegations paint a picture of calculated social climbing rather than organic success. While Meghan has consistently denied these claims, calling them sexist and defamatory, Bower argues there's a reason they've never fully disappeared. What makes these rumors particularly damaging isn't their salacious nature. It's how they fit into a broader pattern that Bower has identified. Every major milestone in her career seems to have coincided with connections to influential figures who later provided opportunities. The timeline, he suggests, isn't coincidental. Recent investigations have attempted to verify or debunk these claims entirely, but the evidence remains
way beyond herself, because she really doesn't understand the British royal family or Britain, but understands how to project her clients. And so I think she got it wrong by leaking it, or even letting anyone know.
It's murky. What's clear is that Meghan's legal teams have worked overtime to prevent certain information from surfacing. Photos and documents that allegedly connect her to these exclusive circles continue to be disputed, with some claiming they're fabricated, while others insist they've been systematically suppressed. But here's where it gets interesting. Bower isn't just rehashing old gossip. He's connecting these early allegations to her current behavior patterns, suggesting that the same strategies she allegedly used to climb Hollywood's ladder are now being deployed to manage her royal image. The only difference is the stakes are infinitely higher, and the scrutiny is global. Perhaps nowhere is Meghan's calculated approach more obvious than in her obsession with Princess Diana. What started as subtle nods to Harry's beloved mother has evolved into what critics call a full-scale impersonation attempt. Bower documents how every major public appearance seems choreographed to mirror.
That was a great mistake, and I don't think it'll produce what they hope. And I think in the end, I don't think the Sussexes themselves know what they want anymore.
But Diana's most iconic moments. The wardrobe choices aren't coincidental. The camera angles during interviews aren't accidental. Even her body language during emotional moments appears studied and rehearsed. Where Diana's vulnerability felt raw and authentic, Meghan's attempts come across as theatrical performances designed to trigger the same emotional response. This strategy initially worked brilliantly. The comparisons to Diana helped cement her place in the public's affection and gave weight to her victim narrative. But Bauer argues that this approach has now backfired spectacularly because audiences can sense the difference between genuine emotion and manufactured sympathy. Diana didn't need to try to be relatable. Her struggles with the institution were visible and heartbreaking. Her tears felt real because they were real. Meghan's emotional moments, by contrast, often seem timed for maximum impact, complete, with perfect lighting and strategic camera placement. The public has become increasingly skeptical of these produced moments. The most damaging aspect of this imitation game isn't that it's obvious, it's that it diminishes Diana's actual legacy. Royal watchers have started viewing Meghan's references to her late mother-in-law not as tributes, but as exploitation. She's using Diana's memory as a shield against criticism while simultaneously trying to inherit her sympathetic status. The Oprah interview was supposed to be Meghan's masterstroke, her chance to control the narrative completely and position herself as the victim of an outdated, racist institution. Instead, it became a case study in how quickly manufactured stories can crumble under scrutiny. Within days of the interview airing, fact-checkers began dissecting every claim. The assertion that she never Googled Harry before their first date was immediately contradicted by photos of her wearing his mother's jewelry years earlier. Her claims about being unprepared for royal protocol fell apart when evidence emerged of her royal-adjacent friendships dating back years before meeting Harry. The timing discrepancies weren't minor inconsistencies. They were fundamental contradictions that called into question her entire narrative. If she was lying about easily verifiable facts, what else was fabricated? Bauer suggests this was the moment when public opinion began its irreversible shift against her. But the real damage wasn't just from the lies themselves. It was from the realization that these weren't slip-ups or misremembered details. The level of preparation that went into the interview, combined with the specific nature of the false claims, suggested deliberate deception rather than honest mistakes. Recent allegations have surfaced about Meghan's behavior behind the scenes, including claims that she was abrasive towards her 4 female staff and even towards local British diplomats during royal tours. These reports paint a picture of someone whose public persona is dramatically different from her private behavior, reinforcing Bauer's thesis about manufactured authenticity. The interview's aftermath revealed something crucial about modern media consumption. Audiences are no longer passive recipients of celebrity narratives. They fact-check in real time, compare stories across platforms, and have little tolerance for obvious deception. Meghan discovered this the hard way. The entertainment industry's relationship with Meghan tells a fascinating story about how quickly fortunes can change in Hollywood. Initially, her royal connection opened doors that had previously been closed. A-list celebrities courted her friendship, major studios competed for her attention, and streaming platforms offered massive deals based purely on her title. But something fundamental shifted over the past 2 years. The phone calls stopped coming. Red carpet invitations became scarcer. Industry insiders began whispering about her being difficult to work with and high maintenance. The same royal status that once guaranteed access now seemed to be a liability. Bauer's sources paint a picture of someone who believed her Duchess title would provide permanent protection from industry politics. She allegedly approached collaborations with unrealistic expectations about creative control and financial compensation. When projects didn't meet her standards or failed to generate expected results, she reportedly blamed everyone except herself. The Spotify debacle became a perfect example of this dynamic. What started as a multi-million-dollar partnership ended with barely any content produced and whispers about lack of work ethic. Industry executives began questioning whether the royal connection was worth the operational headaches. Netflix executives, once thrilled to be in business with actual royalty, reportedly grew frustrated with similar patterns. Viewership numbers didn't match the hype, production meetings became exercises in ego management, and the content that emerged felt more like vanity projects than compelling entertainment. The most telling sign of Hollywood's cooling relationship isn't the failed deals, it's the silence. In an industry built on publicity and mutual promotion, the lack of public support from major figures speaks volumes. Former collaborators, who once praised her publicly, now avoid mentioning her name entirely. The signs have been subtle but consistent. Body language experts have noted increasing distance during public appearances. Their separate professional projects suggest diverging interests and priorities. Most tellingly, sources close to the couple report growing tension about their future direction and conflicting views on how to leverage their royal connection. Bauer suggests that the couple's relationship is under increasing pressure, particularly due to their conflicting approaches to life in California, far from the royal spotlight. Harry allegedly struggles with the constant media management that defines their existence, while Meghan reportedly sees it as essential for maintaining relevance. The use of their children in publicity efforts has become particularly contentious. Bauer alleges that strategic deployment of family photos and references to parenting duties serves primarily as criticism deflection rather than genuine sharing. When negative stories surface, suddenly there are heartwarming family moments dominating the headlines. This calculated approach to family life has created additional strain because it requires treating their most private moments as content opportunities. The pressure to constantly produce material for public consumption reportedly leaves little space for authentic family experiences away from cameras and PR considerations. The financial pressures add another layer of complexity. With major deals falling through and fewer opportunities materializing, the couple faces mounting pressure to generate income while maintaining their luxury lifestyle. These economic realities, combined with their different approaches to fame management, have created what sources describe as a powder keg situation. Watching Meghan's brand disintegrate has been like observing a masterclass in how not to manage public perception. What began as a carefully crafted image of empowerment and authenticity has devolved into something that feels manufactured and desperate. The problem isn't that she made mistakes. Every public figure does. The issue is that her response to criticism has been to double down on the same strategies that created the problems in the first place. More image control, more narrative, management, more attempts to manufacture authenticity instead of actually being authentic. Bauer claims that Meghan is planning to release a memoir that will serve as her ultimate weapon against the royal family, expected to be a significant money-making venture. But this approach misses the fundamental problem. Audiences are tired of weapons and warfare. They want genuine stories and real connections, not more calculated attacks disguised as truth-telling. The social media response to her recent appearances tells the complete story. Comment sections that once overflowed with supportive messages now feature skepticism and eye-rolling. Her attempts to generate viral moments fall flat because they feel forced rather than organic. Even former supporters have grown weary of the constant drama and narrative pivots. The woman who once inspired millions with her message of empowerment now appears to use that same message as a shield against any criticism. When every challenge is reframed as sexism or racism, the actual instances of both lose their impact. The brand collapse isn't just about public perception, it's affecting her ability to secure future opportunities. Publishers, producers, and partnership managers are reportedly hesitant to engage with someone whose public image has become so polarizing and unpredictable. Tom Bauer's most devastating observation isn't about any specific lie or contradiction. It's about the cumulative effect of years of image management gone wrong. Meghan has reached the point where even her truths sound fabricated because she's conditioned audiences to question everything she says. This represents a fundamental failure in celebrity brand management. Once public trust evaporates, it's nearly impossible to rebuild. Every new statement is filtered through the lens of previous deceptions. Every emotional moment is analyzed for authenticity. Every philanthropic effort is scrutinized for ulterior motives. The royal family has made their position clear through strategic silence. King Charles doesn't mention her, Prince William won't speak about her, and Catherine won't acknowledge her presence in interviews. For an institution that prides itself on diplomatic language, this complete avoidance speaks volumes about the damage her presence has caused. But perhaps the most telling indicator of her fallen status is the media treatment. Publications that once competed for exclusive access now seem more interested in documenting her declining relevance. The transformation from sympathetic coverage to skeptical analysis reflects a broader shift in public sentiment. Recent events, including confrontations with Bauer at public appearances, suggest that even her remaining supporters are becoming more aggressive and defensive, indicating awareness that their position is weakening. The woman who believed she could rewrite the rules of both royalty and celebrity has discovered that some rules exist for good reasons. Authenticity can't be manufactured, trust can't be demanded, and public sympathy can't be strategically deployed indefinitely. What remains now isn't a fairy tale or even a cautionary tale. It's simply the natural consequence of treating public relationships like PR campaigns. When Tom Bauer says her lies could flood the earth, he's not being dramatic. He's identifying the moment when quantity of deception reaches a tipping point where quality of truth becomes irrelevant. The empire she built on image management is crumbling because it was never built on solid foundation. And unlike the fairy tales she once believed in, this story doesn't appear headed for a happy ending.